obviously less than 2 weeks ago, there was the historic and tragic attempt on Donald Trump's life, where he was slightly injured. Obviously, another individual lost their life. 2 others were more seriously injured. And I am curious, based on your prior talk and diagnoses of Donald Trump, an event like this, where he has some of these sort of dark personality characteristics, it feels like someone like that experiencing an attempt on their life that came within inches of taking their life could potentially be interpreted in a way and could be responded to in some ways that are not super positive. And I know coming out of the event, there was a lot of talk from his sort of surrogates about him being a new man, being a changed man. Now he has since come out and said, they want me to be a new man. I'm not gonna be a new man. Maybe I'm even worse. Do you think like a high intensity event like that for a person who has his mental issues, is he gonna respond to that differently than other people might? Do you think there's a chance that he could be changed for better or for worse coming out of it?
Well, it's a very reasonable conjecture, but the answer is no. The answer would be yes, I would say, for well over 99% of us. Some event like that that's traumatic could lead to a change in values, a change even in personality characteristics. But he does have the one condition, sadly for him, and I think dangerously for the rest of us, that is immutable. You kind of see it in the person's childhood. It's throughout the lifespan. It doesn't wane with age. It seems impervious to any kind of outside impact. There have been numerous treatment protocols that have been devised to try to help people with this condition change. And to date, none of them have been able to change the immutability of this particular personality disorder. So in his convention speech, after he got through the part that he was reading on the teleprompter and he started more riffing, it was certainly not a surprise to those of us who know about this disorder to see him revert almost immediately to disparaging others and deceit and some of the core characteristics that go along with this condition. So no, we all have a tendency to assume other people have humanizing emotions, and I don't want to say he doesn't have any, but he is missing, sadly, some real central ones. So I would say, from all we know about the condition, no, there was no chance that was going to really change him internally.
You know, I want to follow briefly on this, based potentially on a misconstruing of his condition based on watching TV shows like House. I always think of people who have these sorts of brain conditions as, for all of their other faults, they tend to, like, they're described as being successful because they can sort of lay out kind of a plan, and they can they're good at reading other people and knowing what they're supposed to emote, like even better than regular people. But he doesn't seem to have that capacity. He undercuts himself. Like, maybe he's unlikely to change from the event, but strategically, politically, a lot of people believe that to win this election, what he needs to do is just not remind people of some of his worst excesses. Like, do the whole speech on the teleprompter that we give you, and you won't undercut yourself. But maybe this goes to the impulsivity you've talked about. He doesn't seem to be able to stick to the plan, even when it's to his clear self-benefit. Any thoughts about that?
No, that's an insightful observation. I think it was the impulsivity, because the psychopath is in the game of trying to win, and it seems self-defeating for him to undercut himself. But I think the impulsivity, again, it's at another level than we normally think of that term for the psychopath, and I just don't think he could help himself. It was that trait, I think, that actually kind of helped the country, most of us would say, from election night 2020 until through January 6th, because he was simply unable to formulate a plan. He was certainly unable to focus and come up with a strategy because of his impulsivity.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Obviously, there was a lot of territory to cover. I would love to speak once we get a little bit more into the campaign, particularly because I expect that there's so much chaos with Kamala Harris coming into the race and everything. I don't think the media has had time to refocus on mental fitness, but I think that that phase of the election will come. And when it comes, hopefully people will pay attention to what you've been trying to educate them on in regards to him. But as before, thank you for giving us your time. And until we speak next, where can people follow your work?
Well, there's a website called dutytoinform.org that has a lot of the articles on psychopathy. And most of my articles are on the platform medium.com, which allows three free articles a month before you hit their paywall. So if people want more detail, there's a lot of content, both on the psychopathy and on the neurocognitive disorder. And I'd like to make a shout out. George Conway launched recently a platform called Anti-Psychopath PAC, and he is kind of going over the heads in some ways of mainstream media and trying to get some of this content out. So I urge people to check out Anti-Psychopath PAC.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Greenwood, as always.
Thank you very much.